So we are back to look at 5, 6, 7, and 8. Okay. So what does 5 say? 5 says Japanese cars are very strong cars. Japanese cars are very strong cars. That is our example 5. Japanese cars are very strong cars. That's our example 5. So under that, you underline Japanese cars. And when you underline Japanese cars, your arrow points downward in the second line. And in the third line, you write your S2. So we have Japanese cars as our S2. Then we have the structure are very strong cars. So you under that you underline R, and when you underline R, your arrow points downward in the second line, and in the third line you write your V2. So we have R as our V2. It is therefore wrong of you to say Japanese cars is very strong cars. If you say that, it means your S2 has taken V1, which is of course wrong. The correct form is Japanese cars are very strong cars. So we go to our example 6. Example 6 is says the tests are very simple. The tests are very simple. Tests. Okay, that's the plural form. Tests. The tests. Okay, the tests that students write. The tests are very simple. The tests are very simple. So under that, you underline the tests. That is plural form. When you underline tests, then your arrow points downward in the second line, and in the third line you write your S2 where we have. So there we have the tests as our S2, and then we have the structure are very simple. Under that structure are very simple, you underline R, and when you underline R, your arrow points downward in the second line, and in the third line you write your V2. So we have R as our V2. So it is therefore it is wrong of you to say the tests is very simple. If you say that, it means your S2 has taken V1. Therefore, the correct form is the tests are very simple. So we go to the example 7. Example 7 says the buses have just left. The buses have just left. So under that structure, you underline the buses. And when you underline the buses, your arrow points downward in the second line. And in the third line, you write your S2. So we have the buses as our S2. Then we have the structure have just left. Under that structure have just left, you underline have. And when you underline have, your arrow points downward in the second line. And in the third line, you write your V2. Therefore, we have the buses. So we have the buses as our S2, and we have a have as our V2. It is therefore wrong of you to say the buses has just left. If you say that, it means your S2 has taken V1. So the correct form is, of course, the buses have just left. So go to our example 8 now. Example 8 says the three boys clock 13 years next month. The three boys clock 13 years next month. The three boys clock 13 years next month. So that is the next example 8. So under that, you underline the three boys. And when you underline the three boys, let your arrow be under boys, okay? And then your arrow is there in the second line under boys, and then in the third line you write your S2. So we have the three boys, that plural, as S2, and then we have a clock 13 years next month. That's the structure we have. After that, we have the structure clock 13 years next month. So that structure, under that structure, clock 13 years next month, you underline the verb clock. So when you underline the verb clock, your arrow points downward in the second line, and in the third line you write your V2. So we have a clock as our V2. It is therefore wrong of you to say the three boys clocks 13 years next month. If you say that, it means your S2 has taken V1. Therefore, the correct form is the three boys are clocked 13 years next month. Okay, so that is the end of today's presentation. I believe you enjoyed it. Okay, that is for tomorrow. There's no presentation, but we may post an item. Okay, for tomorrow. There's no presentation tomorrow. There is no live presentation tomorrow. Okay, there's no live presentation tomorrow, but I am likely to post something. So until we meet again in the next 48 hours, when we shall be looking at the exceptional cases, very interesting exceptional cases to this rule. So till we meet again, thank you very much. I'm yours sincerely from B Tellurites.